Guess who is back, grubs and scrubs? We are back on the grind. We've touched the grass. We've enjoyed the sunset and went for a nice long walk, 40 minutes. Google says I've behaved, that the grass has been touched, and I'll go out for a run later. I like the park. Nice park at the end of the street. Just playing fields. Really nice to just run around. And you have the whole place to yourself. And it's like, I was talking to someone the other day about, you know, like you can't be annoyed when you don't have like the local suburban park. You know, when it's not like you can't treat it like your own private backyard. But it's amazing how often you can. Like people just don't go to parks.
Greetings.
Like the only time the place is occupied, occasionally there'll be some like, I don't know. Oh, I see MF, I get a little bit excited, but nah, nothing really. I mean the fire res, like I'd have been really happy to get those boots at some other point, but not 95 strength requirement. But yeah, it's, people just don't use the park. Like those play fields, playgrounds, yeah, people go to playgrounds, people go to, and there are sporting events, obviously, a few times a week, and all the lights are on. Good chunk of the evenings, I've definitely been down here, I didn't reset the instance. But yeah, good chunk of the evenings, it's just like your own private backyard, you just treat it that way. Obviously you don't throw garbage around with it, but like, you know, there's no one there. You can do whatever you want. You can smoke, you can chill, you can run around, and I've never really run before, like in my life. There was a very brief period when I did, and I was okay at it, but never like a proper serious sweaty runner. I could just go for like a kilometer run or 2 kilometer run or something a day, not every day, but for my health, and I kind of like to get back to that. So when you're starting out, you're terrible at it. It's unpleasant to do. Like you get a good high when it's over. Just getting to the point where I can like have a little bit of fun with it, but I don't, like I just can't keep the pace up for long enough that I feel like really comfortable. More red boots. Always with a quick squiz. Yeah, I don't feel like super comfortable doing it in like a busy area or anything.
What do you need?
Because you feel like a doofus when you run. Ooh, okay, almost. Run, walk, dual res, MF. But the res rolls are so low. But cold and fire with 20, like a good cold and fire roll with 25 MF, they are some sexy boots. I still want my Skulders, I swear. Like, you know what? If Skulders just eludes me forever, if it's that one item that, like, you know, should be grindable but just isn't, I'm not gonna cry about it. Because wealth is a pretty decent replacement. Yeah, you don't get the +1 skills. The MF is not as high, but when you start to get to high MF, adding more doesn't do. Like, you have to start. So how to explain the way it works? Like, I can guarantee you, because everything in this game works on breakpoints, that MF also works on breakpoints. We just don't have, it's not easy to like study it empirically and like really just like, yeah, always cool to see a bloodletter. Such a great sword to just like mule over to a whirlwind barbarian. You can pretty much equip that thing before you've even finished normal, and you just bully the game with it. And it'll get you through Nightmare as well. The really nice thing is like the plus skills in Whirlwind and Sword Mastery, like, especially if you're just going to be like a total clown and Whirlwind with two of them, which is totally doable. just means you get to put a lot more points into battle orders. I'll take that money. I should have checked to see if I needed potions first. But I think I've got this down. Like when I'm in the groove, I seem to do about a run a minute. And I suppose it all, like, the reality of farming, you know, if it's a ladder or a solo self-bound sense, you don't necessarily have a teleporting sorceress, then things like Andy can make more sense. Because, I'll be honest, like, you do get more drops in Andy. All up. Heck, you can't complain about Hellrune. Hellrune, eternally useful.
Not in town. Greetings.
You use Hellrunes to empty socketed equipment, don't you? It's a cute recipe. I very rarely do that. Because I'll always like, okay, if I make a spirit or something, it's like, yeah, you could just like re-roll it. For something like a spirit, I guess the base is almost more valuable than the spirit. But in this context, like a single player, shared stash context, like, someone is always going to want that hand-me-down spirit. Hell. It's not dusty. It's dark sight. How maybe? Ah, Coif of Glory. Okay, yeah. No, dark sight helps Island. This one does have hit blinds target. Like, hit blinds target on a Boazon is surprisingly potent. Like a multi-shot Boazon, because you just dim vision everything, and it just, you know, they just stand around like goofballs. It makes it so safe. Like, in my understanding, like those are better ways to play Boazon, because let's say you have your Barisa, your Eagle Horn, Lycander, maybe not Lycander, but physical. Your Eagle Horn, your Barisa, God forbid, of course, if you're that lucky. Okay. Well, you have a belt slot.
What do you need?
Which, unless it's Barisa, that belt slot probably wants to be Razortail, because Razortail is like a disgustingly massive multiplicative damage increase with the Pierce. So, well, you want utility on your armor or your helmet? Good luck, you need resistances. You're going to be wearing like a smoke and a Kira's Guardian. Maybe a Juriel Shell. I mean, you probably have to play with the boss. You kind of focus on that. Oh, okay, that's the break skull. Like, there are worse things to upgrade to exceptional with the IAS, but it's still only 100 ED. And good old IK Maul, always a classic. Not even going to check, because I'm pretty sure I've got one with a 50% crushing blow.
Greetings.
Not that I even care. Like, back in the day, I used to play quite a decent number of, like, wolf druids. I was really fond of them. Just because they were the new cool thing. It was like, wow, I get to play like a Zeal Paladin. with like barbarian health pool. So strong. And you also got to remember, back in those days, Zeal didn't have synergy, so Zeal added very little damage. Like, a Fury Druid genuinely did a lot more damage than a Zealot. Not against bosses, because the Zealot could obviously switch to Smite and crush and blow them down, but against normal adds, Fury Druids did a freaking lot of them. Like, they had a really good clear time compared to other melee classes. And a lot of stuff that we look at now and think of like super strong, you know, a big part of the strength is in synergies.
Hail to you, champion.
So builds that were just strong, like just strong raw. This is why everyone used Frozen Orb. Because like in a world without synergies, Blizzard can't even begin to compete with Frozen Orb. But yeah, so something like Fury that does give you a big chunk of added damage. You get extra speed when you go into Rails. So I would clear the game. I've cleared the game quite a few times, and usually with an IK mod, we didn't have one kind of back in the day. And I tried other things. I tried Hellslayer, I tried Nesh's Reaver. I think I even tried Earthshifter at one point. Or Cranium Basher, I can't remember. I think, yeah, it was Cranium Basher was the one we had back then. We didn't have Earthshifter. Great set, terrible globs. Like you can... Iratha's was considered like goated endgame stuff pre-LOD. I think it was like the best ordinary set because it just gives you a crap ton of resistances. And it pops up your max res, which back then it was way easier to hit max res than penalties were lower. Even if you factor in the quest, very, very strong with that. But also gear as well. But yeah, you could easily hit, like go beyond the normal res cap. Dark Mail, that's another one of those items that like was way stronger back in the day before you had... Oh wait, this is Sparkling Mail, which is... I don't like it. It's a nothing item to me. But look, if you found it at level 17 or whenever you can equip it, it would feel perfectly good. Like, lightning is one of the few resistances I really care about in normal. Like, obviously fire, sure, but... you don't need a lot. Lightning mainly for the lightning mechanics, and especially things like heals. That are just going to be like wailing on you. So we're just getting cheeky drops tonight. Like, I see we've got a viewer here, so this is some of the stuff that we have dropped earlier today. Pretty happy with this. I think this can get 3 sockets, but I can live with 2. I found a couple with 1 and was just like, nope. Just... what's that meme? Know your place, trash. Just hurls it into the bin. It do be like that. But I'm really cruising for a Skulders. A Witchwild String would be amazing as well. I always forget, Witchwild String has freaking all resist as well. Like, I genuinely think it is best in slot though for a physical damage boson. But maybe I just don't know what the meta is now. Items aren't stronger. Obviously, I like Wind Force with High Lords is probably still just better. Eaglehorn with High Lords? But it's the defensive stats that I like on the Witchwild String. It's the fact that you get...
What do you need?
That fat all res. It's like 20 all res, which is so nice, because Amazons are going to struggle for that. especially if you're wearing a High Lords instead of a, you know, Prismatic or Mara's or something. And if you're not getting like pretty much guaranteed deadly strike on your bow, it's really hard to like rationalize not taking that extra damage on the High Lords. Runs are very nice and smooth, that's all I love it. You know, it's not about the drops, it's not about what he drops each run, it's about what he does per session, and it's about how quick you can get the runs. The more often you trigger the drops, the more often rolling the dice, the better the chance of that Death's Touch. But it's the sword from the Death set, which is actually a pretty rocking early game set. And
Hail to you, champion.
I kind of would like a second pair of gloves from Death set, because I'd like to upgrade the gloves and belt to exceptional, because the glove and belt combo on Deaths is kind of hard to beat when it's got Cannot Be Frozen on it. In addition to like big leech, attack speed. Part of it is this map. This map is so nice. Like this actual dream space is so clean. There's nothing for Mephisto to hang up on. There's no like the council aren't anywhere inconvenient. You just teleport straight past them. Gotta love a rock stopper.
I can't hear you anymore.
You see what the roll line is. I did not know the resistance could get over 40. That is wild. Like 32, 35, 45. You know what? That is a rock stopper worth keeping. I love me a rock stopper. Like there are so many situations where it's like, do you want vamp gates or do you want rock stopper?
Greetings.
And man, rock stopper was often the answer. It's like, it just does, like, it has everything you want, like, it has the things you need, that, like, you wouldn't wear something if it didn't have those things, like the huge resists. Like, the resists alone on a good rock stopper just completely validate it being slotted on, you know, unless you're talking about having like GG endgame and then it's just like, oh, well, it also gives a massive bonus to hit recovery, which hit recovery is so good, but it's one of those things that, yes, it's good, but it's so hard to find a slot for because there's so many other things. It's like, this is cool. Like, it's terrible, but it's cool. I don't see it very often. But yeah, it's so hard to just slot in some hit recovery, and it's so clutch on something like a druid that or even a sorceress. Like, I was using rock stopper on this sorceress for a good lump of time for the fat res, and the hit recovery while you're teleporting around can come in so clutch. But yeah, it gives vitality as well, which is like life, the most important stat in the game, arguably. And then the physical damage on top, like even if it didn't have the physical damage on top, I would still use rock stoppers a lot. And I guarantee you other people would as well, just because like, it's a freaking 90 resist with life and hit recovery. Now, I was gonna say, like, you don't see Mavinas that often, you know, and then I think that's like my 4th Mavinas today. I always check the
Hail to you, champion.
elite bases, especially if I need potions. I try to be smooth about this and not go to Jamela if I don't need potions. I'll actually enchant that guy with the Oculus. That, like, this is just like a perfect endurance. It's like 2 teleports from the waypoint. There's a shrine. Like the number of gems I've gotten from that speed gem shrine, the number of like little pops of EXP I've gotten. There's a big shrine, EXP shrine. Or just having something that makes your run go way smoother, like mana recharge or plus skills. Enchant, the targeting on enchant can be super frustrating. A part of not aggroing the council as well as having good, decent amount of speed. And sometimes it's genuinely worth like sacrificing some MF to get some casting. Because you just get here faster, you get here safer, you have cleaner runs, you have smoother runs. And as I was saying, 100% certain that MF works on breakpoints in this game. We just don't know what they are because it's too hard to test. There's way too much RNG involved. Because it's not like no one, like, the only way to test it would be to get like 10 people to do, you know, a week's worth of Mephisto runs with a certain number, and then, you know, keep doing that and just keep doing that over like a year or something, and then like really like crunch all the numbers and say, okay, you know, when have we had like meaningful jumps in the amount of MF we get, but it's definitely like that. Like, there is obviously an early breakpoint that you hit with like even, you know, even one. Oh, okay. Alright. Oh yeah. So shaft stop. Just fantastic armor. 30% physical damage reduced. That's so huge. And that helps, but you know what? And these laying of hands are really good. Really nice gloves. I don't know if I'm going to keep the shaft stop though. I've got a couple of them stashed. I kind of tempted to like, I could put his obedience on, then I could pop the shaft stop on and see how he goes. Then he can get frozen. If he gets frozen, he just dies. Especially if he's relying on leech to not die. I don't know. I like the Kelpie snap because even if he dies, Mephisto stays frozen. Mephisto stays slowed for like 30 seconds or something. Even on players 8, it's usually enough time for me to kill him. And the Merc dies. But Sharp Stop, it definitely has potential as mercenary armor for this guy, now that I've got these high enough levels to get all these reds. Like, it's either like, I don't know, Sharp Stop and Dario Usage, or Worm Skull and Hustle. That was a cheeky drop. That felt disrespectful.
What do you need?
Anyway, I want to try Worm Skull and Hustle. But Sharp Stop and Andaro's Visage might honestly just be better. Happy to see my shot stop. Just doesn't want to give it to me. I would like that to have been rusted armor. That could have been a storm shield. Like, decent little charm. You know what? I might chuck that in the stash from one of my other guys. Like everyone needs resists. Resists are so like a big part of the gearing challenge in this game is just like
champion.
like okay, if you're a melee character, then you want resists, a shield, and you know, a decent blocking shield, assuming you make use of it, and a good chunk of resists. And if you can get that on your gear without, you know, then the only other challenge you have is finding a good weapon. But it's the resist and the shield that really take care of the survivability in this game. This is a cool item that just doesn't do enough damage. It's just one of those slightly sad ones, but I guess they kept the damage roll low in the thought that, you know, it can spawn ethereal and has repairs durability, but it kind of has like, you know, it has a lot of what you would like on a two-hander, because a two-hander you're sacrificing survivability for damage. So having a two-hander that kind of gives you a little bit of survivability back with like some all res, replenish life, huge chunk of extra vitality. Yeah, it's not bad. It just doesn't do enough damage. But if you found an ethereal one, God forbid, upgraded it to an elite base, the Ferroaxe base is monstrous. But yeah, I would love to find an ethereal one of those and just see how it goes. But it's also just like obedience exists. Obedience with like, you know, all res, crushing blow, huge damage, hit recovery. That is Griswold's Edge, which is just one of those like, oh god, how the mighty have fallen. No, this is Black Tongue. Okay, Black Tongue is a terrible item. At level 26, remember we were looking at the Bloodletter, the Gladius, that you can use at level 30? Like, just go kill Eldritch for a half an hour, and now you have a sword with like plus skills, attack rating, you know, twice the damage. It's funny, some of the normal uniques are like super competitive coming into Nightmare. Like, I would not mind clearing Nightmare with a bone snap or a steel driver. Ow. And then, you know, they're pretty cheap to upgrade to an exceptional base. The steel drivers are fun to upgrade to an exceptional base because it has huge minus requirements. This is Naja's Light Blade, which I actually think is some really good armor. Like plus skills, all res. Oh, and reduced requirements. That's a really nice little bit of armor. It doesn't have the cast rate, but for a druid or something who isn't really fussed about cast rate, it's good. The other cool thing about this is, like, for budget MFing, you can pair that with Naja's Circlet, and you know, it gives you a big chunk of magic bind. And I kind of want to try doing Hell with the Naja's set. Oh, this is a nice little ring. Oh, hell yeah. Okay, that one's going in the stash. Like a good chunk of resistances, big chunk of life, life leech. You know, it's only 10. There's no lightning resist, but it's only level 60. I don't know, maybe I was a little bit excited. for no reason, but still a cool ring. I had this rare ring back when I used to play, you know, way back in the old days. It was so, like, I never really had like god tier equipment, but I had a few little things that would like always impress people when you'd go to like the PvP place. And, you know, you'd have a little jewel, and if someone lost, you know, they'd be like, "Oh, can I see your gear?" And that ring always used to impress people. I don't even remember the stats now. I think it was just dual legion lists. That's cool. We love to see rare boots, because rare boots can be absolutely goated. Like, I would not cry about wearing these boots, to be completely honest, for meth running. You know, they're just 25 MF boots with lightning resist, and actually good faster run. Plus mana is quality of life.
What do you need?
But man, they can get a lot better than that. You can get dual 40 res boots on res, and you can get plus life, and you can get like 30 MF, and you can get 30 run walk. Like, you're kind of at the point then where like the unique boots don't really compare that well. Because the res boots are like Natalia's, I think, which are decent. They have really good run walk, but they're only like 25, maybe 30 res if you get a god tier roll. A lot of the time they're just kind of 20-20, and they don't have any MF. It's like, boots are kind of the one slot where I feel like I say you should almost always have MF, because you're losing very little when you have it. Because there aren't, like, there's no boots with like 20 cast rate and +1 to skills,
Hail
right?
to you, champion.
It's only melee characters where boots are so strong as like an in-slot choice, and that you know you would rather put your MF somewhere else as a melee character, and that's only because of Crushing Blow. You've got, what is it, Gore Rider and Goblin Toad. I would like some war tribes, that would be nice. I probably wouldn't use them on my sorcerer because they don't have the strength. But really nice for my barbarian. That's Blade Buckle. Lots of hit recovery. Some stats. If Blade Buckle had even, I don't know, 20 fire resist, it would be a nice spell. The normal belts really seem to be all about Night Smoke and Gold Wrap. Like, what else is there? Lenimo is just worse Night Smoke. Snakeboard is genuinely fun. There's some early set belts, I suppose, and Death is pretty good. But Death is really just carrying poison, and unless you upgrade it to exceptional. Is this freaking on? This is click. We already found it. It's still a really freaking good bow. Like, this is doing as much damage as that silly Blood Raven's charge. I very rarely see this. The Guardian Naga. Good damage, but it's almost level 50. Why is this almost level 50? I guess the level 8 Poison Nova on striking is not completely terrible. It's a little bit of AoE damage, but the ED roll is not particularly good. It doesn't have any IAS. The poison damage over 10 seconds is... It's one of those... It's like anti-synergy with your Poison Nova, because those two poison sources aren't going to stack. But yeah, let's compare, just for my own sanity. I want to like just take a look at that Blood Raven's charge, because I'm convinced that that thing is just trash. compare this to Cliff Killer, 62 to 147, 39 to 156. Damage is pretty much a wash. This is a faster bow, so its DPS will be higher. Both give plus skills, but this is better plus skills. This has some crowd control and the knockback. This isn't even a good roll. Like, this can go up to like 250 and the add damage can be higher. Defense versus missiles is not irrelevant. Plus 50 to life is nice. It's a hell of a lot better than having freaking charges of revive. I mean, I suppose you could use that in like a really clutch situation, but you're freaking Amazon. You have goddamn Valk. I mean, this is potentially useful for an enchant sorceress, I suppose, because of the explosive arrows. Or, I don't know, maybe a rogue mercenary. I don't think explosive arrows work with rogue mercs, but they certainly do work with enchant sorcerers. But then enchant sorcerers is going to use Kuko Shikaku because it has pierce. Blood Raven's Charger. Some of the elite unique weapons are like really disappointing. They're just like marginally better than some of the exceptional uniques. And in many ways, like some of the exceptional uniques have way better apples. Like just really bad. Like, why does Cliff Killer have plus 2 to all skills and that has plus 3 to cold crossbow? Which is just slightly worse. It's nice to see chances. Wait, why am I getting that? And Mephisto just melts if you have a skill shrine. It's so nice. How long have I... not even an hour. Not many drops though. Got the shaft song. That's cool. Oh yeah, the other thing is that like elite items, I always tend to forget this until it's like staring me in the face. That's the targets. I have no idea if that's a new roll or not. Let me actually look this up, because I don't see these all the time. So it's 10 to 20 and 20 to 30, 10 to 20. So 20 strength max, 30 dex max, 20 resist max. That's a really bad roll. And these are Hand of Rock. Yeah, Jewel Leech gloves. Pretty cool. Poor Merc. Need some potions. But yeah, as I was saying, the other thing with elites that I often forget, because I so rarely use them, because like the best are so good, like the best of the best. Even then, not really. I mean, like you're often just better off with rune words. But look at this, 187 dexterity and 87 strength. I will guarantee you that the Cliff Killer requires a hell of a lot less. So where you probably have to put, like realistically, to not have a completely balked build, you would have to put a Hell Root in that to use it. Whereas the Cliff Killer can have a Shale or something, you know, which kind of balances them out on attack speed. Not necessarily, but it could. And then suddenly it's like, oh, well now the Exceptionalist actually just doing more damage. And it still probably requires less stat investment, which means like you just have more life. So you die less. numbers are quite a lot in this game. Like seriously warped. Like they just do not justify the stat investment. It's especially true of things like boots, where this is a cool armor, but like, I mean, I guess you could wear like this Herald of Zakarum and like Kira's Guardian and just say like, okay, you know, come at me, bro. I have all my resistances like completely sorted.
What do you need? I am overburdened.
Those big dex roll. Like, that's genuinely not a terrible ring. One of the things I like gambling to make space, if that makes sense. Like gambling straight up when you actually just need to throw money away, when the amount of money you have is a problem because you can't pick more money. That's when I like gambling, because you're winning just by getting rid of the money. If that makes, like, I don't know, it's a weird emotional place to be in for me, but that's how it feels. Where it genuinely feels like it's a win-win situation. Either I gamble and I get something nice, or I just free up space. I mean, I could gamble, but I do have like 3 shared stashes. See what happens. Just I dropped my smelters. Which box? Yeah, that's not what I was hoping for. That's the chief. I like the chief. The chief has what I would call like always cool to see plus skills on gloves. But yeah, Chieftain has what I would say are like respectable stats for a two-handed weapon. It's the kind of things that you want. Like it has some resistance. It has some utility. The damage is like good. The ED, I mean, not necessarily the final damage, because the final damage is the base damage. But I look at in a world where you can upgrade items, you've got to look at the percentage. But two-handed axes just get absolutely styled on by the walls in this game. Actually, at the exceptional level, the axes, for two-handers, the axes absolutely take the biscuit.
Greetings.
Although, the exceptional... So, exceptional mauls, you've got the Martel Defer, you've got the Gavel of Pain, which is, you know, it has amp damage charges, its value lies in that. You probably wouldn't use it as a weapon to, like, do damage with, but oh no, Druid would, I guess. You could have worse. I mean, you could just upgrade a Bone Snap or upgrade a Steel Driver and automatically have a better weapon. And they're easier to find, so it's kind of hard to justify the Martel existence. But as I said, the main reason that thing exists is for damage charges. Well, that's its primary value, its primary utility. But then you have Blood Tree Stun, which is actually a really good bit of damage still. But it's Barbarian Sentry, and it doesn't have IOS. But if I remember correctly, it has a good chunk of crushing. This is the triple axe. No, that's the twin axe. Yeah, this is blade bone, I think.
What do you
But yeah,
need?
blood tree some very good maul, but I would still probably, as I said, I think axes just squeak it out on the exceptional level, and it's all down to the Minotaur. That thing is one hell of a damage stick. It has big crushing blow. It has slows target. It's maybe the best two-handed boss killer in the game in that sense. Because you just cripple the boss and then you just beat them down with crushing blow. It also has hit points target, which is one of the way against bosses. Quite good. And just good damage. It's such a good damage. My current barbarian, who's like my only other high level character, I built it just around all the terror zones. Cutting the heads. Oh,
I can't carry anymore.
so this was what everyone wanted back in the day. Like a god roll rare execution sword
Hail to you,
was
champion.
like the dream weapon for all the sword and shield barbarians. And this one on the ethereal base, actually like not the worst thing you could chuck on an Act 5 mercenary, but imagine if that actually had a good ED roll on the ethereal base. But yeah, axes kind of squeak it out on mauls, but it's not a wash. Like if you look at the elite level, mauls are so much better than axes. As far as I haven't really used ethereal edge. Oh, I still haven't had one of these drops, so it's a really cool drop. Just because it's new. Like, this is not the worst armor. The damage reduce rolls are really big. And it will shock you how much that stuff can make a difference. Especially if you combine this sort of damage reduction with this sort of damage reduction. The combination of the two is way stronger than just stacking one.
Greetings.
But yeah, like normal unique axes, they're not terrible, and the humongous is like, if Bone Snap didn't exist, it would be okay as a damage stick. The problem is Bone Snap does exist, and the humongous has worse ED, and the humongous has plus, like, it requires comical amounts of strength, and if you upgrade it to exceptional, it just gets even silly. Battle cage, always cool, so you can crush and blow. But humongous is still a damage stick with crushing blow. It's not terrible, but like the chieftain, what's the other one? The Bone Slayer or something? I don't know. They're all kind of terrible compared to Bone Snap and Steel Driver. Like, you can clear Nightmare with Bone Snap and Steel Drive without upgrading them. That's how strong they are. And, you know, not feel like you're terrible. Like, Steel Drive will do okay to just clear the mobs, and then you whip out Big Boy Bone Snap for the crushing blow. I've done it. None of the rules. We're cleared right now. Is that another cliff killer? I swear to God. But you see what I mean about how the add damage roll can get so much better? Like, that's 9 to 30. So this one's doing 160, and it still doesn't have the best ED roll. Like, if you've got a really good roll on this with like 250 ED, and
Hail to you, champion.
a good roll on the add damage, it's just so much better than the Blood Raven's charge. And that's not even the best exceptional bow. Like, you've got Gold Strike Arch, which less damage, and it doesn't have the plus skills, but it has huge add damage, like an extra 200% versus Demon's Armor, which those two affixes cover most enemies. And then it also has like 50 IAS. Yeah, talking about axes versus mauls. Oh, okay, I haven't seen one of these in a while. Like elite axes. That's cool. It's a really good ED roll. And because obedience exists, it's so sad, but just like, oh, okay. Yeah. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Like, okay, sure, maybe if you put 2 bird runes in this, then sure. The bone spear, like, I have had this on my mercenary. It's not terrible. It gets the job done. Put a Shale and an Am, and it, you know. But come on. Can 40% crushing blow. The casting a level 21 enchant on yourself when you kill stuff.
What do you need?
All res. Just, yeah. Rune words are the power creep in this game. And I really hope they don't add more. I really, really hope they don't. Because I've heard some like rumblings about how Diablo is saying that they're gonna do something with this. Saying they're gonna do something. Hope to God they don't. We're already at the point where like words feel like stupid power creepy in some cases, where they just completely validate like, you know, 70, 80, 90% of needs, while also being target farmable and just easier to get in general. Limit Shred, which is cool, but we have no shortage of these, and as far as I know, they drop pretty freely, but that is a really good ED roll. That might be worth holding on to. Like, the funny thing is, like, if I was like a Berserk Barb or a Frenzy Barb, like, genuinely just consider using that as just a normal ass axe. It's 50 to 200 damage with 30 IAS on a fast base, with like over 1,000 added elemental damage. And this is what I mean by like power creep. Like, compare that to B-Star. B-Star was one of the first wave of elite uniques back when we only had a few. And like, just look how much the later elite uniques just poop all over them. Like, B-Star's whole thing is like, you know, decent ED, 200, same as a good roll on Brimmer Shred. Really good IAS, 50 compared to 30 on Brimmer Shred. Gets a little win there. And a big chunk of elemental damage.
Thanks.
But where B-Star does like 3 to 600, that thing does like, you know, 600 to 14. Like, it's just like, there's no way to rationalize the balance. One is just flatly better. Both do all 3 elements. So it's not like, oh well, one
What
of them
do
is
you
all
mean?
consolidated. It's easy for enemies to resist or have immunities to. Nope, no. One of them is just flatly better. One of them is a throwing weapon that is a better melee weapon than the melee weapon. And yet the crazy thing is, you will find more Glimmer Shreds than B stars. And I think yeah, we've actually got a B star sitting here that we found. We found like 2 of them today. Like compare that to the Glimmer Shred. It doesn't even compare. It's 3 to 600 elemental versus, you know, like 600 to 1500. The only thing it has going for it is more IAS, but I don't think the base, like obviously the base is what's really going to make the difference. But yeah, just, I don't mind power creep, it's fine. Beast, like, the problem is that like, the power creep of rooms frustrates me, because everything that the Countess can do is target fire. You don't, and I don't know, part of me wants to like it because you don't need MF to do Countess runs. You don't need MF to look for rune bases in Lower Kurast, so, you know, part of me wants to like it, but they're just too good. Like, I'm sorry, obedience is just too good. And I know people will say, you know, buff don't nerf. Look, I played a lot of games like Diablo in my lifetime, and I'm gonna tell you a little secret, okay? If buff means, like, you know, 20, 30, 50, 100, 200 things need to have the numbers changed, and if nerf means one thing needs to have the numbers changed, the problem is with the one thing. Like, unless it's at the point where it's like there's stuff you just cannot do without the one. Ah, Storm Shield, very nice try. And is that another, yeah, it's another Natalia's. What have I got? Oh, I've got my Rockstar, but I kind of wanted to identify that. That's Atma's, which is just a terrible armor, has no reason to exist.
Hail to you, champion.
It's kind of sad to sell a Storm Shield, because I remember the days when this was just like a handful of SOJs, easy, but those were the multiplayer days, these are the single player days, and I have 2 Storm Shields, and no one to sell additional ones to, and this is actually a very good roll. This is 1 shy of perfect on strength, 2 shy of perfect on dex, and good resistance, so we can go ahead and we stash that. Stash kind of becoming a bit of a squeeze, but that's okay. I can cube stuff, make a lot of space that way if I need to, but and like these can just be thrown away, they just are crafted. They are, aren't they? Spirit Grippy check. Yeah, just crafted. And I just hold on to these for upgrading runes and stuff because it allows me to cube them and save space. But yeah, so when you have just one weapon, one thing, like so obedience for example, obedience is instantly makes every exceptional unique polearm irrelevant. Apart from Kelpie Snare. It makes every normal unique polearm irrelevant, apart from the other ones are slow targets, like Rose Day and the precursor for Kelpie Snare. And it makes, I think it makes pretty much, well, it makes all the elite polearms except for the Decrepit Fire. gives you a huge amount of undead. Yeah, the Vile Husk. I always wanted to try upgrading this to Elite, and then, you know, just making like a kind of dedicated Pindle killer thing where you just like instantly go through the portal, you know, I don't know, maybe just whirlwind through, just kill everything. But yeah, fun. The chance to cast amp damage on striking is always potentially strong, but only works
What do you need?
on so the chance to cast amp damage is like, it's good with things that hit a lot. So it's good with like Fury, but then Druids don't use two-handed swords. It's good with Zeal. Guess what Paladins don't use? Two-handed swords. And then the only like barbarian combat skill that really synergizes with two-handers is Whirlwind. And, you know, on hit effects just don't even work as well. Okay. Almost tempted to like just start putting them and wait until I have like 5 of them or something, and then ID them all. Because the fact of the matter is, I have a bunch of Maros and I have a couple of High Lords.
Hail to you, champion.
So I'm not identifying these rare amulets like, oh god, yes, I desperately need a Maras to like fix my resistances or something, you know. Oh, I so desperately need a High Lords for the IAS and blah blah blah. You know, I can't afford to just be a little bit silly and like stockpile a few. I might do that. And maybe I'll do a specific stream where it's just, I don't know, crafting, gambling, identifying red cards or something. Or at the very least, leave it till the very end of the run, see if I get any. I'm kind of sad that I identified that very early. I really like this idea. But oh man, it's just eating away at my brain. I so want to go idea it. This is Hawkmail. I really want Crowcore, and he just won't drop it for me. Like he won't drop that for me. He won't drop Skullers, and he won't drop Witchwild String. And I know the drop rates are not bad on any of them. He has dropped stuff for me that is so much rarer. He dropped me a freaking Azure Wrath. I didn't even know Hell Mephisto could drop Azure Wrath. He dropped me an Arcane's Valor. I didn't even know he could drop that. He's dropped Gladiator's Bane, the Elite Russet Armor. He dropped the Elite Kraken Shell. I think he might have been terrorized. He's dropped a couple of Najas. The Hellforge Flame. He's dropped the Naja's Scepter. He's dropped multiple Oculuses. Like 4 Shakos or something absolutely silly like that.
What do you need?
Like, we just had Shako Day one day, where he just dropped like 3 Shakos in the space of a day. He's dropped me 3 Storm Shields, at least. I think he might have dropped another one that I threw away as well. He's dropped me a bunch of Sharp Stomps. Vamp Gazers, I will say, not so generous with Vamp Gazers. The one that my Mercenary's wearing is the whole of it. But then again, I don't think Vamp Gazers like that God's Hit, to be completely honest. He's dropped me 2 Curious Guardians. He's dropped me High Lord's Wraths. just all sorts of like crazy stuff, but he won't drop me Skulders. Maybe I should be doing some Andy runs, because she can drop Skulders and has a slightly better drop chance. The problem is like Andy runs just suck. Getting to her sucks. Takes way longer. You know, even with good cast rate, you just teleport straight there. Ignore everything. If you die, you die. Who cares? Odds of dying are very low. I've never died on the way there. Not with this setup. Actually, I don't think I've died before, but certainly in my Diablo career, I have died. Then you get stuff like this. Where you have to spend so long just clearing out this area. And now this jerk is immune to cold. Finish him up, please. My boy's carrying the Kelpie snare, so he's down. That's... Rathas or something? Milbragas? I don't know why I just stood next to the Cold Enchanted, but I did. I mean, you know, if she's going to drop like that, then I don't mind. This is... Oh yeah, Black Forms. Okay, so that's something special, but... Another rare amulet. The pile is growing. Man, you run
The
suck.
Order
They just
welcomes
suck.
you.
And then it plonks you in Act 1. Just teleport you to a wall 7 times in a row. Because I'm that guy. Is that another clip kill? Oh, a Tarn Helm, that's cool. I swear to God. What is life? What is Diablo 2? Oh, okay, 38. Alright. You know what? Pop off. Tarn Helm dropping Queen. Another freaking cliff. Like, how many cliff killers have I gotten today? It's bonkers. Today is just cliff killer day. It's like that sometimes. You know what I want? I want a Skullders Day. When is it fucking Skullders Day? When is it Witch Wild String Day? Like, most people would rather have Cliff Killer than Witch Wild String. I am not most people. That's cool. I would say it's kind of redundant, but not really. Not when Shaco is like level, 60 requirement.
Good day.
Tarnhelm also, it doesn't really compete with your 3-socket unless you socket it, and then that means a Lazo quest, and then you probably want to save the Lazo quest for the Shaco, but it's still cool. It's a +1 skills hat. You can wear it level 15, and it gives you MF as well. I shall mule it over to something. Why am I doing this? These are just like your kind of lazy man's blood globs. They've got some leech, they got a tiny bit of crushing blow, they got some other stats. Yeah, they're just... If you're too lazy to craft, these are kind of entry-level
What do you need?
melee fighter gloves that will, they can get you through, but better stuff exists. Mind you, if that 5% was the only crushing blow you had, and you're going to fight Hell Baal, probably isn't anything better, to be honest. I would rather be wearing them than almost any other gloves in the game. But yeah, obviously you just craft black gloves. Cheap crushing blow and life leech. I guess this is it's so, like, my brain just locks into doing Mephisto so much that even when I try to go do Andariel, I just end up doing Mephisto again. But we are trying to do Andariel. I want to get like a good stack. That will actually make, like, I don't really stream for people to watch. This is diary. So I don't use hard drive space. Just to basically like keep a record of my drops. And I might do a compilation or something at some point. Like, I ran Mephisto for 20 hours. Here's what I got. Highlights. But where is the shape? I swear I couldn't see him there. Was that killer just blocking my sightline or something? Oh no, she's bugged. She can't get past that. Wow, okay, thank you, game. This is why I don't run Andariel. That's the 3rd time I've had that bug, by the way. I should have just saved and exited when as soon as it happened, but...
Good day.
Greetings.
And that really puts you in a bad mood. Because it, like, flat bugs her out, so she just spams range attacks. And there's nothing you can do to, like, manipulate her AI when she's just stuck behind a coffin like that. So it's like, have fun with a scuffed run. Like, it already takes 3 times longer to get to Andariel as it does to Mephisto. And then there's like 3 times as many ways that, things things can just be like straight run killers. Like even just having too much shit in this room can just be a run killer, or it takes like so much longer to be able to clear it out. Or like having boss mobs back here, it's not a run killer, but it just makes the run kind of slow. This is... Oh, they're deaths. Okay, that's actually a good find. This is nothing. This is Viscera Torn. But I'll still identify it. And at the half-hour mark, I'm gonna have to jump off and go for a run. But yeah, I mean, if you want block on your sorceress. But yeah, this is actually a cool find. You don't see these often, and the pairing with Death Sash is really good. Actually, just out of interest, what is my block chance? 10%. What if I put this on 12%? I mean, you have to invest in Dex, but it has no res. Like, you need res. I mean, I know you could put
Good
a diamond
to see
in.
you.
It's a fairly low-level piece of kit. I suppose it's not supposed to be amazing, but again, it is just a bit sad when it's like, you know, some really easy to get rune word just occupies that slot. It's just free. Like, when are you going to take your prime off? Oh. Just absolutely breaking my arm, making me cry.
Hail to you, champion.
But a Bartox, I think that's a Bartox. This is a cool find. I'm pretty sure it can roll plus 2 to martial arts, but that looks like a good damage roll. I have no idea. I'll check it out at some point. Cool find. But oh look, guess what? Guess what makes every single Assassin Claw in the game completely fucking irrelevant, and is not even that hard to farm for? Our rune word. Like it. Mosaic is like game-breakingly broken. Like, what piece of equipment that can be a rune word doesn't have a rune word that is best in slot? Or even, like, isn't completely gatekept by some really low level rune word? You know, like the way Spirit just kind of... Oh, okay. Double Spirit. Every sorceress, double Spirit. Double Spirit. Every Poison Bone, Necro, double Spirit. And then it's like, you're not dreaming of upgrading your spirit to, you know, like an Oculus. You're dreaming, or in the shooters, you're dreaming of upgrading your spirit to like, you know, Heart of Oak.
Greetings.
which is just like upgrade your rune word to a rune word. It's kind of sad because like itemization is kind of the the itemization puzzle of like building around items and so on is what gives this game so much of its charm. And yeah, rune words kind of fucking hard. Like, it's just again, it's just power creep, and it's just sad to me that a game like this has power creep. Because like I play games like Warframe that are, you know, constantly updated. You will never not have power creep in games like that. But this game hasn't had an expansion in truly years. Like, what are they trying to sell with the power creep? And no, they weren't trying to sell anything. They were trying to make ladder play more accessible. You know, and I totally understand that, and that's why a lot of the like really stupid rune words are like ladder only, single player only. But then everyone who isn't on ladder looks at them and says, you know, oh, well, how come we're just stuffed, right? How come if I want a good sword, I have to spend like the rest of my life farming for this holy grail unique that could never drop, when ladder players can do lower Kurast over a couple of weeks and, you know, almost certainly get a rune word that is better than my holy grail unique. So then they kind of leak in the main game. Okay. Who says you need to do Andy for jewelry? But I will do Andy here because I completely forgot about doing that. Like I said, pardon me, the muscle memory on Mephisto is so ingrained. I just go to it without even thinking. But I'll do an Andy run and then maybe one more set of both and then go for a run or something. And they can't like trap me here by being withholding and not dropping anything because I've already got a bunch of like unique jewelry just sitting there. But I'm actually like, I'm really chuffed with that idea of like never identifying unique jewelry that I find. And then doing like a stream where I just identify it all in one go. Is that really my drop? God, I hate Andario. Fucking 4 items? She's some shit compared to Mephisto. Which would be fine if, like, it wasn't a sweat to keep your mercenary alive during the runs.
Good day.
Even when he's level 90. And if it didn't take longer to get to it, but oh well. Whatever. I'll do the odd Andario. Some people, you know, it's very RNG. I'm sure some people just like Andariel is where they got all their good stuff, where they got really geared up for hell or whatever, so they just have an attachment to it. Whereas for me, it was always Mephisto. Nice, relatively close here. Like look that way, but it's actually not. That's okay. We can just take it down into this corner. Okay, string of hits, decent fight. Now I'm kind of tempted not to identify this. Because I already have one, so maybe just add it to the pile of like suspense building. Because it does have a variable role that's quite
The
important.
Order welcomes you.
said, I haven't run in years, and I just started doing it again. And it's been suffering. But I'm just kind of getting to the point where I can like really have fun with it. Like I feel good. I feel like I'm fast. I feel like I can keep going for a while. I have that like, feeling of like flying almost. So I'm kind of eager to that. Plus. We've got a lot of like really disrespectful drops like that, but I can't really complain about the drops tonight.
What do you need?
Start with Mephisto. The thing is that it's kind of muscle memory for me, and I don't always do it, but it's often a reflex for me to just reset the instance after coming back through the hell world. That wasn't something nice. I know people do the door trick with Andariel, but I'm not gonna lie, the door trick seems like a load of shit to me. Because by the time you've cleared the 4 shamans in there, like, you can just have your space clear. And then clearing them out there and then saying, oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna then lure Andariel back in here. As I was talking about normal unique belts being really bad in this game, apart from Gold Wrap and Night Smoke. And yeah, Night Smoke is just, it's just 10 all res. It's not a great belt, but it's decent enough. And she goes and drops one.
Yes?
As I say, I don't believe in the door trick. I think it's nonsense. It adds in. So let's say you have an extra fast boss pack of Tainted inside the doors. So as soon as you open the doors, they just rush into like your little prepared area. Well, you'll run scuff. Have fun with that. Like the bottom line is, there is just an RNG chance that any random anti-run is going to suck because of the ads that are going to be around her. And my thing is, like, if the door trick meant that that couldn't happen, then sure, great, I'd use it, but it doesn't. All the door trick does is it changes what can fuck you up. There's also the blizzard trick, I guess, of like actually physically locking Andariel behind the door and putting those underneath. I don't know that that works with Frozen Orb. Hydra's chewed her up quite nicely, and honestly, even Frozen Orb does a good chunk of damage. So as long as it's not too horrible in there, you kill her fairly quickly. Keeping the mercenary alive requires a bit of like ants in the pants action, which is what I'm not fond of because, you know, look,
Good day.
I always say this, you have to make the grind acceptable to yourself because there's no point. Like I don't know, let's say someone out there discovers, and that this is 100% true, someone discovers that if you have a finger up your bum, like way up, I mean like past the second knuckle, right? No being shy, gotta be right up there. You have a finger up your bum when you do a Mephisto run, he's just permanently terror zoned. There are people who will be like, you know, passing the Vaseline and then start clenching, right? And figuring out how they can do their hotkeys with one hand. There are men like that in this world, and I'm not saying that as an insult. Like, there are people who will, you know, they'll optimize the fun out of their experience, basically. They'll do whatever they can to shave a couple of seconds off, to improve the odds, you know, whatever, any little advantage. That's what gives them dopamine when they're running. You know, some people are like just hard grinders like that. Some people are like, I would say I'm a hard grinder in the sense of like endurance, but I like my grinding to be chill. I don't care if putting a finger up my bum turns Mephisto into a terror zone permanently. I don't want to do Mephisto runs with a finger up my bum. It takes all the fun out of it. And to me, that's kind of how Andario feels, because like Andario runs are never chill, or very rarely chill. It's always this, it's always that. You know, this, you can have so much trouble with the random ants in here. She can get hung up in really dangerous and messed up ways. Like, I have not died on a Mephisto run for so long. I just got like, back when I first started doing it and my resistances were just like not good and I was slow and my mercenary was dying a lot. There were a couple of times when I was like on low health and I just kind of walked into a charge bolt. There was at least twice where he just kind of one-shotted me from the grassy knoll. Like, you know, he was fighting his mercenary and he just kind of turned around, realized he didn't like me, and just sent me to the fucking Shadow Realm instantly. So I've died doing Mephisto.
The Order welcomes you.
But not in a long ass time. Not with this setup. Not with this mercenary. And yet I just died doing Andario. That's how much more dangerous she is. And part of it was because she was hung up on that freaking box thing. But that's the kind of stuff that can happen. We really are at the hour and 30 mark here, so I'm just going to kill our favorite Pinata and Andy. Okay, it's Storm Shield Day. The game heard that I don't need Storm Shields anymore. The way someone phrased it in Warframe was, you will never be able to have enough of it until you don't need it.
What do you need?
So I hope no one is really grinding and struggling to find a Storm Shield and that, you know, made them cry. That wasn't the intention. I just genuinely do not have space for it. And I have two of them. And I don't even know who you put them in. It's like, Paladins want Herald, don't they? These random ads around Andario, I will admit, can drop some good stuff. something I don't have to round out this little farming session. You know, even if an item has to be so friggin' bad before I won't put it on a mule if I don't already, if it's new to me, basically. So that's cool. I mean, it's not complete garbage, because it's an extra mana. Vitality is always good. Mana leech on a belt's not terrible. Given how long it took me to find it, I kind of feel like it's hard to believe that you wouldn't have something better, but such is life. And there's the duo. Miss Arm and my Sorceress. Getting all the stuff, getting all the roots. Get the hell out of here, Kasha. You're standing in my shot.